How much salary in Norway do you actually need to live comfortably? It's a question that echoes in the minds of many who dream of moving to this stunning Scandinavian nation, a place known for its majestic fjords, progressive social policies, and high quality of life. The idea of earning six figures often conjures images of financial freedom, luxury, and a life without monetary worries. In many countries around the world, an income of $100,000 a year would firmly place you in the upper echelons of society. It would mean a large house, fancy cars, and frequent international holidays. You would be considered, without a doubt, rich. But in Norway, that same impressive salary can feel surprisingly average. The dream of a lavish lifestyle quickly collides with the reality of a country where the cost of living is notoriously high. The moment your six-figure paycheck lands in your bank account, it begins a rapid disappearing act. High taxes, expensive housing, and the steep price of everyday goods and services all take a significant bite. The number on your employment contract might look fantastic, but the purchasing power it grants you tells a very different story. One that is far more modest than you might initially imagine. This isn't to say that earning $100,000 in Norway is a struggle. It can certainly provide a comfortable and stable life, but it requires a fundamental recalibration of what wealth truly means. The Norwegian system is designed to create a more egalitarian society, where the gap between the highest and lowest earners is narrower than in many other Western nations. This social contract is funded by a progressive tax system, which means that high earners contribute a proportionally larger share. As a result, the luxuries that a six-figure salary might afford you elsewhere are simply not as accessible here. So, what does a $100,000 salary in Norway truly look like by the time we reach 2026? It's a salary that allows for a good life, but not necessarily a life of excess. It's an income that is more about securing stability, enjoying a healthy work-life balance, and having access to world-class public services than it is about accumulating material wealth. The numbers might surprise you, painting a picture of comfortable adequacy rather than extravagant riches. Understanding this distinction is the key to managing your expectations and truly appreciating what Norway has to offer beyond the figures on a payslip. As we look toward 2026, the global economic landscape continues to shift, but some things remain constant. Norway's reputation for being an expensive place to live is one of them. While wages are high, the forces of inflation and a strong local economy ensure that costs keep pace. This makes the question of salary more relevant than ever. Is $100,000 still the benchmark for a good income? Or has it become the new normal for skilled professionals who are simply trying to get by, especially in major urban centers like Oslo, Bergen, or Trondheim, where the competition for housing and resources is most intense? The allure of Norway is undeniable. The promise of a safe society, excellent public health care, free education, and a deep connection to nature draws people from all corners of the globe. These benefits, however, are part of a social package that you, as a taxpayer, help to fund. A large portion of your impressive-sounding salary is immediately redirected to support the very systems that make the quality of life so high. It's a trade-off that many are happy to make, but it's a trade-off nonetheless. Your income isn't just for you. It's an investment into the collective well-being of the entire society. This introduction will serve as your guide to the financial reality of living in Norway on what appears to be a very handsome salary. We will break down exactly where the money goes, from the moment it's earned to the moment it's spent. We will explore the labyrinth of the Norwegian tax system, revealing how much of that $100,000 you actually get to take home. We will then follow the money as it flows into the biggest expense for most residents: housing. Whether you are renting an apartment in the city or dreaming of buying a home, the costs can be staggering. Beyond taxes and housing, we will delve into the daily expenses that slowly but surely erode your budget. From the price of a loaf of bread to the cost of a simple meal out, we will show you what your money can actually buy. We will also uncover the hidden costs that many newcomers forget to account for, such as utilities, insurance, and transportation fees. By the end, you will have a clear and honest picture of what life on a $100,000 salary in Norway really entails in 2026. The answer might not be what you expect, but it will be the truth. Norway is famous for high wages, with average salaries among the world's best. In 2026, the average is expected to be around 680,000 kroner, or $64,000. Nurses and teachers earn between $56,000 and $70,000, while IT specialists and engineers can make even more. Norway's wage system keeps gaps small, supporting a strong middle class and financial stability for most. The idea that everyone in Norway earns a six-figure salary is a myth. High salaries exist, but mostly in oil, finance, tech, and medicine, not for everyone. For most Norwegians, incomes are comfortable, not extravagant. Here, success is measured by stability, work-life balance, and enjoying Norway's safe, family-friendly life, not just a big paycheck. Norwegian salaries look high compared to other countries, but that's only part of the story. High wages are balanced by a high cost of living and taxes. In return, Norwegians get public health care, education, and social security. So, while take-home pay may be less, peace of mind and well-being are built in. In Norway, your salary depends on your industry, experience, and qualifications. Oil and tech jobs pay the most, with senior engineers and developers often earning over $100,000. Roles in arts or service sectors pay less, but still offer a good living. Ultimately, your background and expertise determine if you'll reach that six-figure salary. Land a high-paying job in Norway, and your contract might show a dazzling figure, $100,000. But before you celebrate, meet Norway's most powerful player, the tax system. The more you earn, the more you contribute, funding healthcare, education, and a strong social safety net. Here, everyone benefits, whether you're a CEO or a janitor. That's the price of admission to a society built on stability, equality, and shared prosperity. Your first Norwegian payslip can look like a puzzle. The main deductions are income tax and social security, or inntektsskatt and trygdeavgift. Social security is a flat-rate tax, funding benefits like pensions and healthcare. Income tax is a flat 22% after a personal deduction, but higher earners pay extra through bracket tax, so your take-home pay will be much less than your contract states. Plan accordingly. Let's see what happens to a $100,000 salary in Norway. First, Social Security takes nearly 8%, then income tax and bracket tax push your total tax rate to around 40%. Your take-home pay drops to about $60,000. That six-figure dream feels very different after Norwegian taxes. A comfortable life, but far from extravagant. In Norway, the tax story doesn't end with income tax. There's also a net wealth tax, formuesskatt, levied on what you own, not just what you earn. If your net wealth exceeds 1.7 million NOK, you pay about 1% annually on the excess. For long-term residents, this means as your wealth grows, the tax system takes a small but steady bite, year after year. After taxes, housing is your next big expense in Norway, especially for newcomers facing the fierce rental market. Apartments in Oslo are snapped up within hours, with rents for a one-bedroom easily hitting 15,000 to 20,000 kroner a month, up to 40% of your net income gone, before groceries. Landlords demand a 3-month deposit up front, making entry costly and competitive, especially if you lack a local financial history. The process is formal, with standardized contracts, but landlords have the upper hand and seek low-risk tenants. In Norway, finding a place to live is a race, one that tests both your finances and your nerves. Tired of renting? Buying a home in Norway is even tougher. Banks require a 15% down payment, often over $70,000 for a modest Oslo apartment, and strict lending caps limit your mortgage to 5 times your salary. Bidding wars are the norm, pushing prices above asking and demanding quick, high-stakes decisions. Even with a 6-figure salary, saving enough and winning a bid can take years of sacrifice. Home ownership is possible, but it's a high-stress, high-cost journey that's not for the faint of heart. In Norway, location is everything. Oslo's housing costs dwarf those in smaller towns. City life offers jobs and culture, but at a steep price, apartments cost 2 to 3 times more than in rural areas. Many commute from nearby towns for affordability, trading money saved for time lost. Outside the big cities, your salary stretches further, making home ownership and comfort more attainable. Always research local housing markets. your city's name can matter more than your salary. Rent or mortgage is just the start. Hidden housing costs in Norway add up fast. Winter electricity bills can double or triple, and mandatory insurance, internet, and TV fees are unavoidable. If you own, expect monthly building fees and municipal taxes for water, sewage, and garbage. These extras can add 4,000, 8,000 kroner a month, quickly shrinking your disposable income. In Norway, keeping a roof over your head means budgeting for much more than just rent. After taxes and housing, your first Norwegian grocery trip delivers real sticker shock. Everyday items, bread, milk, cheese, produce, cost far more than in most countries, thanks to tariffs and high labor costs. A single person can spend 1,500 kroner a week on groceries. Families pay much more. Savvy shoppers hunt for deals, buy store brands, and adjust diets to local seasonal foods. High prices mean high standards, but your grocery bill will demand careful management if you want your budget to survive. Dining out in Norway is a true luxury. Even a simple meal at a mid-range restaurant can cost over $20, and drinks push the bill even higher. That's why most Norwegians pack their own lunch and save restaurant visits for special occasions. Social life often shifts home, with friends gathering for homemade dinners, embracing coziness, or kos, and making the most of every meal together. Getting around Norway isn't cheap. Whether you use public transport or own a car, costs add up fast. In cities like Oslo, monthly passes are pricey, and crossing zones costs even more. Car ownership, even pricier, with high taxes, expensive petrol, and road tolls. That's why many Norwegians mix public transport, biking, and the occasional rental car to keep mobility affordable. For most, sticking to public transport, cycling, and walking is the smartest and most sustainable choice. In Norway, life's pleasures, like clothing, hobbies, and social time, can be pricey. Norwegians invest in quality gear and embrace friluftsliv, enjoying nature for free. At home, coziness, and quality time matters most. It's about simple joys, warm blankets, good coffee, and time with loved ones, not extravagance. This is the real heart of Norwegian living: well-being, simplicity, and kos. Utilities in Norway can really surprise newcomers. Electricity bills spike in winter, and the NRK license fee is mandatory for everyone paying income tax. Water and waste fees are often bundled into rent or municipal charges, covering essential services. These recurring costs add up fast, so planning ahead is key to managing your budget here. Beyond basic utilities, hidden costs in Norway include protection and staying connected. Insurance, like private health and home contents, is common and often required for renters. High-speed internet and mobile plans are essential, but can add up quickly for families. Banking fees, especially for international transfers, are another hidden expense to watch for. We've already established that owning and operating a car in Norway is a costly endeavor, but the hidden fees associated with mobility extend beyond the obvious expenses of fuel and insurance. The most pervasive of these are the road tolls, or bompenge. Norway is a country of tunnels and bridges, magnificent feats of engineering that are largely funded by the people who use them. Major cities are encircled by bomringer, or toll rings, that automatically charge your vehicle every time you cross into the central zones. Driving into Oslo for a meeting or a shopping trip can result in multiple charges that, honestly, add up pretty quickly over a month. These tolls aren't just for entering cities. Many new highways, tunnels, and bridges across the country are financed this way. So, a weekend road trip to see the fjords will inevitably involve passing through numerous automated toll plazas, each adding a small charge to your bill. All cars are required to have an auto pass tag, a small electronic device on the windshield that registers the tolls. At the end of the month, you get a detailed invoice that can be, well, shockingly high if you've been driving frequently. This system makes you constantly aware of the cost of your journey, turning every car trip into a small financial calculation. Parking is another significant and often underestimated cost, especially in urban areas. In city centers, parking is scarce and exorbitantly expensive, with hourly rates that can make you think twice about driving at all. Street parking is often reserved for residents with a special permit, which itself comes with an annual fee. Private parking garages charge a premium, and fines for parking illegally are steep and rigorously enforced. Even visiting a friend in a modern apartment complex can involve paying for guest parking. These costs are a powerful incentive to leave the car at home and embrace public transportation or maybe even a bicycle. Finally, even if you choose the more economical path of public transport, there can be hidden costs. While a monthly pass offers great value for regular commuters, the occasional trip outside your designated zones requires buying an additional ticket, which can be expensive. Furthermore, there are other transport-related costs, like the annual fee for a city bike subscription or the cost of taking a ferry, which is a pretty common mode of transport along Norway's jagged coastline. All these small mobility costs, from tolls and parking to extra bus tickets, accumulate over time, forming a significant and often surprising part of your monthly outgoings. After navigating Norwegian taxes and the sticker shock of groceries, you might wonder, what does a six-figure salary really get you here? In Norway, $100,000 means comfort and stability, not riches. Taxes and high living costs quickly eat away at your income, but you gain a safe home, work-life balance, and access to nature. It's a comfortable life, one of careful budgeting and simple pleasures. So, with all these expenses and a lifestyle that feels more average than affluent, is a move to Norway still worth it? For the right person, the answer is an unequivocal and resounding yes. The true value proposition of Norway lies not in the numbers on your payslip or the balance in your bank account, but in the immense, intangible wealth it offers. The country provides a quality of life that is consistently ranked among the best in the world, and this is a dividend that pays out daily, in ways that money alone cannot buy. It is a return on your investment of high taxes and a high cost of living. Think of the peace of mind that comes from living in one of the safest countries on the planet, where you can walk home at night without fear, and where children can play freely in their neighborhoods. Consider the value of a society that prioritizes the well-being of its citizens through a comprehensive public healthcare system, ensuring that a medical emergency will not lead to financial ruin. This security is a form of wealth. It is the freedom from a certain kind of worry, a freedom that is priceless and allows you to focus on what truly matters in life. The Norwegian emphasis on work-life balance is another form of non-monetary wealth. The standard workday is shorter, vacation time is generous, and the culture actively discourages overwork. This gives you the gift of time. Time to be present with your family, time to hike in the mountains, time to read a book, and time to simply be. This is a stark contrast to the hustle culture prevalent in many other nations, where personal time is often sacrificed at the altar of career advancement. In Norway, a successful life is one that is balanced, and your salary is a tool to achieve that balance, not to disrupt it. Therefore, the decision to come to Norway should be based on your personal definition of wealth. If your goal is to accumulate capital, maximize disposable income, and live a life of material excess, Norway is likely not the right place for you. But if you prioritize safety, social equality, family time, and a deep connection with the natural world, then the trade-offs become entirely logical. Your $100,000 salary is your contribution to a system that provides these things in abundance. The real Norwegian wealth is not found in your wallet, but in the secure, balanced, and deeply fulfilling life that it enables you to build.